Terrell here, and I'm back again with another review for That 90s Show coming to Netflix on January the 19th. Netflix, so you can watch all 10 episodes of the show on the 19th. A lot of people have a lot of expectations for this show. Probably, definitely, if you were fans of that 70s show, forgetting that 80s show, because apparently that just didn't exist with Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I kind of wish they would kind of make a cameo. But either way, that 90s show is picking up a lot of weight and has a lot of expectations for it. And after watching 10 episodes and kind of fighting back my feelings of how I felt about that 70s show, I actually did like it. I really did enjoy it. Once I got into like episode 3 or 4, I was like, okay, I kind of feel about it. But one of the biggest things that you see it through the trailer is a lot of people wanted to know how the older characters were going to play a role in that 90s show. Well, I can tell you from just watching this, obviously I watched the whole show, that they don't play a lot of interference in the show. For the most part, the show is focused in on the new kids. And the new kids consisted of Eric and Donna's daughter, Leia, who is leading the new group. So new kids consist of Gwen, like I said, Leia, Jay Kelso. We have Ozzy and Nikki and Nate. Those are the kids that are hanging out in Kitty and Red's basement now, who pretty much doing the same things as their predecessors, their Leia's mom and dad and her friends and stuff like that. A lot of the show, I feel like especially from the trailer, you see a lot of the cameos like right there. And I'm not going to spoil anything going forward with the show, who pops up, who doesn't, whatever. But you already know, as you see from the trailer, you see Leo is back in the show. We know Michael was back in the show. I'm not going to tell you, kind of like what happens with this character or where it is. I know people probably have like theories as to like what happened to Michael and that, because I remember like in that 70s show he had a kid and he was a cop or whatever the situation was. I don't know. The storyline kept kind of going back and forth with that in that show. As you see from the trailer too, we got Fez. But a lot of the show, and like I said, Eric and Donna in the show too, but a lot of the show is still focused in on around Leia and Kitty and Red, who I think have a lot more screen time. Not to say they definitely had screen time in that 7th show, but they have a lot more screen time in this too, because they're also like directors and producers on the show, which makes sense. But the show is also focusing around Kitty and her kind of feeling like, after the kids left and everything, like her house is feeling empty. She kind of feels like her purpose is kind of not there anymore. She's kind of, wants to be a grandmother. And now the opportunity for her to be a grandmother full time is there, with Leia staying for the summer. Because they live in Chicago. Eric and Donna live in Chicago now. And, now they're going back to Point Place to, establish new friends. So Leia comes in and, she establishes this friend in this group, and then they all wind up hanging out in the basement. I think the show is good, but I think the biggest issue I have with the show is that it's trying to be that 70s show too hard instead of like making it its own thing. Like just a lot of the elements and some of the stuff is staples. Like you don't need to take out like of course the smoke scenes and stuff like that in the show. You do, which is always weird because it's like, okay, you got 15, 16-year-olds smoking weed in the basement. How is nobody smelling this upstairs? I always wondered that, like, how is nobody smelling this weed upstairs? Like, what do they smell? They smoking this in the jar? Like, how is nobody smelling? Because they're airing it out everywhere. So I don't understand like how Kitty and Red is not coming down. Hey, what's going on? But everybody, like I said, the show is primarily focused in on Leia, and her journey through the summer, making friends, kind of getting out of her comfort zone of what she normally is. And I really like Leia's character in this, who is played by, and I want to get this right, Kelly Herverta. She's playing Leia Forman, and she's a really good mix of her mom and dad. Laura Prepon's character and Eric, whose name I can't remember, Topher Grace. She's a really good mix of those characters, like the nerdy and like the side of her mom. She does a really good job of playing that character. And she I feel like she just embodies like that their daughter. Like if I had to, if after watching this, like if you had to pick anybody to play a daughter, I feel like she was the perfect choice. Like she looks like a good mix in between them, and like her personality that she portrays is also a really good mix. And like I said, I feel like the biggest thing, like I said, is just them trying to focus in and try to make that almost that 70 show by but also still making sure that we reference that this is the 90s because this show is set in 1995, and they also introduced a lot of stuff that I felt like was nostalgic for me personally because like you see stuff like Nintendo and they mentioned certain things in the show that happened in the 90s that you probably remember or stuff like that. That's really cool. Like it's also a big nostalgia trip, you know what I mean, for kids that actually existed in the 90s. Um, but make no mistake, this is not that 70 show. This is not, they obviously have to, account for the time and stuff like that. And the characters all become their own thing. We have Jay and Leia who kind of like the primary focus of the show. We have Gwen, who's her friend, that the first friend that she meets in the show, and she kind of shows her another way to live her life, basically, right? We've seen this before. There's other ways to live besides just being the smart girl and whatever, But now she's kind of trying to cram in a bunch of life experiences in one summer. But like I said, it's like I said, it's really fun just to relive a lot of the '90s moments, and just seeing kids just fall in love for the first time, and just the teenage angst that you see on TV that's just super annoying. But yeah, you like that will they, won't they, between each other, between the group and everybody else, and just problems that don't really seem that big, but they're just blowing out of proportion because that's the biggest thing for a kid at the moment. But like I said, it took me a while to get used to the new characters like Nikki. Nikki's the Asian girl in the group, and that 70s show I feel like was really diverse in the cast. Fez was like the only non-white guy in the group, but this one we have two Asian characters, one black woman, one black girl, and the rest of the cast is white. So I feel like they definitely give you a really good mix. And not to say that 70s show didn't have black people in it, because it did, but I feel like this show definitely has a better variety of different characters. I mean, this is also the 90s, so it'd be kind of hard to not showcase a lot of different people in the show. And they take trips to the mall, and you see that in the show as well. We get a lot of cameos. One of them, this is not really a spoiler, but we get a cameo from the Vista Cruiser. I feel like the Vista Cruiser is his own character because that was like a big thing in the show, but we get a cameo from the Vista Cruiser. And then, like I said, we just my biggest thing is like I feel like the cast really gets along well. I really, like I said, I really like a lot of new characters: Nikki, Leia, Jay, Gwen, Ozzy, and Nate, and I really like those characters. My biggest issue about the show overall is that it's too short. It's 10 episodes. By the time you really start to kind of care for the characters, it's over. Which was like my biggest thing is like 10 episodes. This is a sitcom. I don't necessarily know if this works because they also are playing this with Leia's kind of vacation time. So if she's not living in Point Place, then that's they kind of have to speed through it. And that was my biggest issue. They speed through a lot of the show in the form of 10 episodes, because like once you get from 1-10, the summer's over, and then she's whatever. But that's my biggest issue, is like the show is too short. I feel like you don't really get a lot of time to build with the characters. By the time you really start to care, the show is over. They're trying to wrap it up. I don't know if that was Netflix's way of just kind of playing it safe and just saying, hey, we did this. If we get canceled, at least it's done. But that was my biggest thing. I wanted more. I wanted more. It was nice to see Kitty and Red. I mean, the actors that played them are not as young as they used to be. So like you kind of think you want to churn this out a little bit faster to get these seasons. But overall, I really did like the show. Once I got at least 3 episodes in, at first I was like, I really wasn't feeling it, because I was just like, this is just not what I thought it was going to be. The kids were super annoying, but like once I got past that, I was like, okay, I actually care about them. You're going to see a lot of familiar places in there, like the place they used to hang out all the time to eat snacks. I think it was like a snack bar or something like that. On top of Kitty and Red's places, Eric's house, Donna's house. all the stuff that's in there. But if you're gonna watch this to pretty much see like who's gonna make an appearance in the show, I'm not gonna spoil anything extra for that for you because you're probably expecting certain people to be in it that's probably there or they're not there. But I think they do a really good job. I like the like I said, I like the new cast. I really hope that they do another season and a little bit more, a couple more episodes, because 10 episodes for a sitcom just does not feel long enough, especially when it's all there and available all at once. If it was week to week, maybe I'd be like, oh, okay, this format will work better because they're doing a build up. But unfortunately, if Netflix is going to drop it all at once, then it just feels so fast. It feels quick, and you don't really get the build with any of the characters as much as you would. Laura Prepon is back. Like I said, she is directing a lot of the episodes, which I thought was really cool. You have the original cast come back and kind of get back on the other side of the lens and give direction on the show that maybe they didn't have a chance to do before in the original. Kurtwood Smith and woman that plays Kitty, they're also directing. Like I said, they're also big producers on the show. So a lot more people have directorial roles and producing roles on the show that obviously they probably didn't have a chance to do on that 70 show, but it's a new perspective. So like I said, keep in mind this is a new cast of kids. The show is not focused on the old characters. It's focusing on the new, which is where you want to go if you want to push that. I think the show definitely does have potential. And I would love to see where this goes going forward if we can get a little bit more time building with the characters. Other than that, I really enjoyed seeing the cameos that were there. I love being back in Point Place. The show was great. It's a really good idea to bring this back. Like I said, the cast is perfect for what they have here. But like I said, I just wish we could spend a little bit more time with the characters within the 10 episodes. But like I said, you might feel like me, and you might feel like you love that 70 show so much that you just like you will not like this show. But I think you will. I think you definitely will once you get past 2 episodes, and it'll definitely grab you. I mean, the first episode is definitely like their attempt to have Eric and Donna come in and grab you like, oh, okay, this is where we are, this is where we're setting up. But you'll definitely enjoy it. But other than that, the show was great. I love it. I said I definitely recommend watching it if you're a fan of the show. Definitely leave me a comment. Let me know what you think after watching this after release. Like I said, it comes out January 19th. Netflix, which is by far one of the best streaming services, whatever. But yeah, check it out. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like I said, I enjoyed it. Seeing Eric and Donna again as parents is crazy, especially like I said, growing up on the show and we're talking about almost 20 plus years of watching that 70 show up until now to finally get to that point. And Debra Jo Rupp and Kurtwood Smith, thank God they're still alive to be able to do this because they do an amazing job coming back as those characters. So again, that's that 90s show coming to Netflix January 19th. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think below. I love the show. Hope you guys do too. And this has been another review from Terrell. And see you guys next time. See you.